welcome to the Old Man Orange Podcast Radio Hour. This is going to be kind of a new show, running in the same, circulation as the other ones to make it easy for everybody. But on the radio show here, they call it radio show or radio hour?
Radio hour. We'll figure it out. Let's go with radio hour.
Okay, they're both 4 letters, so it can be fine. But on this one, we're going to talk more on a certain topic, not necessarily like a video game or a new movie.
Or Batman, which is our
Batman,
most current thing.
yeah. We're going to talk about, maybe an issue, something that actually affects people more than something that just entertains people. So if you don't like this kind of stuff, and you're like, fuck those guys, I only want to hear them talk about movies, or I only want to hear them talk about comics, then you don't got to listen to it, because it's going to be called slightly different. You can look it up. But if you feel like, hey, I hear issues out there kind of sound pressing and important, and I wouldn't mind wanting to hear that kind of stuff, well, we'll offer that to you too.
Chances are we'll probably segue into Batman eventually. We can't fight our first nature.
So if you're just waiting around for something drunk Batman-ish, it will probably appear.
Yeah.
But also, I want to make sure everybody goes out and checks out our website, oldmanorange.com. Very simple. Leads us to every other website. That will lead you to the Facebook. That will lead you to the Podomatic. Lead you to iTunes, YouTube, Vimeo, and whatever else there is. Send us an email at oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. And first off, I just want to mention, last night, which was Saturday night, we were in Sacramento.
We should actually first introduce the third member of the podcast.
I guess that's true. I was just going to talk about that first. But, okay, well, today it's me, Spencer Scott Holmes, and
Ryan Dunigan.
And we got a special guest.
Nora Chambers.
There we go.
Hopefully be a regular.
Go.
My longtime friend since, age 2, probably.
Yeah.
If not earlier.
Yeah, if not
I like
earlier.
to say since sperm.
Sperm and egg.
So, but last night, me and Ryan were down in Sacramento, and this actually was totally like a spur-of-the-moment thing. We went down there because Dunigan needed to go to an art museum to take pictures for a class.
Which I was surprised my art teacher said, yeah, you gotta go inside class and you gotta go inside the museum and take pictures. She's Chinese. She's actually not that horrifically, offensive Chinese voice, but
that's how it is in your head.
It's that much cartoony. No, she wanted me to go inside and just take a picture or two to prove I was there. They got to write on pieces, and eventually people asked me to stop taking pictures. I didn't notice the giant pictures of cameras with an X through them throughout the building. Oh, I didn't even think of that, but okay. So I was just kind of in and out. I got the discount. It was for $8 or something.
Probably because she's Chinese, and she's probably just like, you go in there, you take pictures, you go real fast, you bring them back, and we'll sell them for me.
The thing is you can't take pictures of certain things in China. You'll get freaking arrested.
They'll do more than
That's
arrest
what they do
you there.
here. It's okay if there's an American
It's okay for them
copyright.
to be like, oh, you American kids, go take pictures, have fun. But we can't take pictures in their country. You get arrested.
No, this teacher's actually really cool. I really like her. But anyway, I had to go do this project. And then once we got out, I'm like, all right, well, we're in Sac, so we might as well stop at the comic book store, maybe a cool record store. Then Spencer and I, we both listened to the Christopher Titus podcast.
And we remembered that on this weekend, Christopher Titus was playing in Sacramento. So while Ryan was in there taking photographs and getting yelled at by security guards, I called up the place and said, I'm like, do you guys got any tickets left? I know it's only 3 hours till the show. And they're like, yeah, come on by. So we went and saw Christopher Titus do his stand-up comedy act.
Which there's kind of an interesting story about that. His girlfriend, I forget her real last name, but Rachel Bombshell Ray, who's his girlfriend on the podcast with him. She opened for him. She did the first 10 or 15 minutes. And as we're watching, when she's getting near the end of her set, somebody just walks right in front of me because we were kind of standing in sort of a low balcony. It wasn't exactly a balcony, but it was risen a little bit more from the rest of the room. So somebody walks in front of me and standing there in front of this railing. I'm just kind of move. I mean, I don't say move. I'm just kind of trying to look around him. The guy just adjusting something on his belt. I'm like, why can't this guy move? I'm just waiting for Christopher Titus to come on. Then all of a sudden, I see the guy walk up there on the stage, on top of I say, fuck, that's Christopher Titus. He was right there in front of me. And I'm just,
You're complaining about it.
I wasn't complaining, but it was one of those things. I was there for him, but I didn't realize he was just literally inches in front of me. And it was just kind of I didn't see if he turned and smiled because I know he saw me and I saw him, but I wasn't even thinking about it, So it was almost kind of if he turned and waved, I'm just trying to look around. I'm like, whatever,
But no, the show was badass. He was hilarious.
Oh, that guy was. This is the funniest bit I've seen from him.
And the thing I like about him too is I like when people do stories as their comedy routines. you know?
Mm-hmm.
Something, especially once from real life, too, that makes it a lot better. It's not just kind of like, hey, did you hear? And like almost like the classic style. No, just stories. They were all hilarious, and it was like about an hour and 40 minutes or so, somewhere around there. I mean, it had to be wrapped up because there was a second show coming up in 2 hours.
Yeah, and he was actually, the thing about his is, even though his stuff's really funny, it's very inspirational because his humor goes into some dark places and some serious places. But it actually, he doesn't ever seem preachy. He doesn't ever seem like, poor me, because he makes fun of himself a lot. He's really good. Have you ever seen his show, Nora? Titus?
I saw one of them, and it was like a Valentine thing, I guess. It had like lots of hearts in it. I can't remember the name of the actual show, but it was really funny, and I liked him a lot, and I wanted to find more stuff. I didn't know he had a podcast though.
Oh, he's pretty good. You should check him out at some time.
Now that I know he has a podcast.
And
I am technologically challenged, so.
There's actually, at the very end of the show, what was really cool was, to me, this is gonna sound like it's so much bigger than what it really is, but as he was walking out, I just thought this was so cool. As he's walking out, leaving the stage, he's patting people on the back and shaking hands and all that. And, he walks past me, and I'm kind of like, should I put my hand out? Should I put my hand out? I kind of got there too late. And I'm like, damn it. Then he actually stopped, turned around, walked back, and shook my hand, and smelled like, I'm glad you enjoyed the show. And walked like, that's awesome. And they usually just like, I want to get the fuck out of here. But it was awesome though. There's someone, celebrity nice enough to turn around, walk back, shake hands, and like, get head out,
Oh, yeah.
Well, this was at Sacramento at the Punchline, which was about 300-seat club, had a little bar in the background. So, I mean, it wasn't like the hugest show, but it was like still a good size. You didn't feel like it was one of the kind of shows you're like, oh man, he's only got 30 fans in here.
We still got out of our 2-drink minimum.
Oh yeah, we got out of the 2-drink minimum, which was badass. We only had to buy one expensive $4 cranberry juice. But yeah, somehow, some way, if you just don't pay attention to the waitresses at all, they don't come near you.
Go figure.
I don't know if that works, but
take that down, kids.
But it was even more badass is after the show, we got to meet him, do a little meet and greet, got to talk to him for about a minute, and then we got photographs of him, which was awesome.
Well, you got kind of a funny, unintentional story with Bombshell Ray.
Oh, well, I was talking to her, and then, like, she was like, well, she was kind of, like, almost apologizing for, like, the first one. She was like, well, the first ones didn't have that great of sound quality on our podcast and stuff. And then I accidentally kind of just said this where I was all, I was like, well, I guess I made our podcast not seem so bad. But it meant me, like, because the quality, not because the material.
Awesome.
I sort of have this problem, like, whenever I meet celebrities, I sort of slightly insult them. Like the singer from Stabbing Westward and his band, The Dreaming, Christopher. When I met him and talked to him, I met him in Nashville where he had a concert that was like 17 people, including the opening band. Now, Nashville's not really a place for metal acts at all. I mean, there's some stuff there, but I realize it's pretty darn small. So we were talking to him for like about 5 minutes or so. Then we started talking. We were like, oh, yeah, we're both from California. This is awesome. And he's like, oh, you live up by Yosemite? Well, I live there all the time and go camping. And then I go, yeah, it's a great place except for all the tourists. I was getting so comfortable in the conversation that I just assumed he was like a total local where you could say something like that. And you're like,
forgot
oh, whoops.
he was the Flatlander.
I mean, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, he's from Los Angeles. But it was in good nature.
I'm just kind of one of those people, I say what I say, then I walk away because I'm afraid I'm going to say something stupid. Like, I don't think either of us said something stupid when we met Wednesday 13. That was
no. We didn't say anything. I just, I made sure I got my line in there because he asked, like, oh, where'd you guys come from? I'm like, oh, we drove like 3 hours to get here. So I touched his heart that way.
Or guilt-tripped him, however you look at it.
Yeah, one of the ways. And even with, like, Christopher Titus, we got kind of a good, like, we got to talk about, we even mentioned our podcast. And he showed some interest, which that's all I need. I just need that some interest. The fact that went through his head and he was like, oh, cool. That's all I needed.
Well, the brief moment of your coolness.
Well, then you accidentally, maybe, I don't think he took it this way, but you're on the way to the car like, fuck, I shouldn't have said that. There's like...
Oh, you want me to say what else I said? Now, here's what I said to Christopher Titus, because I was like...
There's more.
I was all, man, your podcast is like one of my all-time favorite ones. It inspired me like the most. That one and Kevin Smith are like my 2 favorite podcasts out there. And he was all like, he's like, oh, Kevin Smith does one? I'm like, oh, he does like 7. Which probably came across like that one you do a week is not very, it's like, that's it, 1 a week? Kevin Smith's doing it every single day.
Loser! Kevin Smith has his own network. Where's your network, Titus? That's what I thought.
Once again, it doesn't mean to come out like it's insulting. I just don't know. It's like, I just seem to say things. I'm in the moment, like I'm kind of like panicked slightly.
I hear things and then I say things and then I'm like, what happened?
Because you kind of like, I don't know, like when you talk to like somebody who's like almost like a celebrity or as I say, a hero when it comes to people like Christopher Titus, you kind of get to this point where you almost feel so comfortable with them that you're talking to them like they're one of your best friends, but then that is probably too comfortable where they don't even know who you are.
Well, given the jokes he said, I think he was cool. But I mean, a couple of his jokes are like, I gotta meet Bruce Springsteen. I made a dumbass of myself. I met The Edge from U2, and I made a dumbass of myself. So he understands. If anybody understands.
Well, there you go. He
so yeah,
he understands what's going on.
He had a joke about it, so it totally worked out.
He doesn't think I'm a dumbass. He does the same thing.
But that's not really like the part of the whole Old Man Orange radio show issue thing. But we just want to mention that story because that was pretty cool. What I was thinking about talking about today is sort of the education system. That's a problem that I've kind of seen my entire life, and I looked at it this way. We all went to school. We saw what kind of happened firsthand. You know what I mean?
You speak of it as like the Hindenburg or something.
It was like the Hindenburg. I think it is.
It was.
They did no child. Really.
Well, they did the No Child Left Behind, and some of them should have been left behind.
Oh yeah. Well, they started to abolish that actually, the No Child Left Behind thing.
Thank
God. Now they realize that like this kid actually isn't good enough. Let's let him hang back a bit.
Right. Let's not push him on. Oh, we did that once, and that guy became our president. Whoopsie.
I hope they kind of catch that like a little bit earlier though, because I mean that's gotta kind of suck for a kid who's like in 4th grade and he has to get held behind, where it's like, fuck, these are all my friends. Now I gotta make a bunch of new friends, and my old friends are gonna look at me like a total loser. Like if you do it like in kindergarten and 1st grade, that makes sense, because by that point, like whatever, you know. I feel like if you did it like by the time 4th grade or like anywhere around there, you almost gotta switch him out of schools by that point. Like he won't be able to go back. Yeah, that'd be the nice thing if a parent would do that.
That'd be the nice parent thing to do, is be like, okay, well, since you failed at 4th grade the first time, instead of embarrassing you totally, we're going to just put you in a whole new school, but you're still redoing 4th grade, so.
I'll be honest, it's one of those things, I actually asked my folks for this. I was actually stayed back the 2nd grade. 2nd grade, I stayed back, but it wasn't one of those things like, give him the cone hat, put him in the corner. It was one of those things, it was one of those like, keep in mind, I lived in San Jose from when I was born to middle school.
You had to fucking deal with a computer robot next to you in class. Yeah. It wasn't the easiest environment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, not like mountain living.
My science partner was Tron. You have any idea how fucking hard it is to keep with that guy? Anyway.
But no. Did they just tell you this like recently?
No, I knew about it. No, I knew it.
I thought it was like one of those ones, kind of like a Superman thing. By the way, this is how you got to Earth. The spaceship here. This is where you came from.
My dad just takes you to the basement, just pulls this sheet over this box of all these papers with F's on them.
You sucked at 2nd grade. You couldn't spell cat to save your damn life.
I didn't know how to bring this up to you, son. We let you stay behind.
No, but it was actually, no, they told me this, like the school was saying, we suggest Ryan, he could go ahead. We suggest he stays back. But keep in mind though, Silicon Valley, 90s, it was sort of a private school, though it was a very, so they're just trying to get more money on my parents. And after this year, like, no, fuck it, we're just in to a public school.
Yeah, so you went to private school for only a couple of years?
2 years.
2 years. Okay, I know a handful of people went to
You wouldn't have guessed it from looking at it. They weren't getting the bang for their buck at all. It looked like just a normal public school, but it was a private school apparently.
On all technicalities.
Yeah.
Even though I will have to say, in my personal opinion, through looking through stuff, I really feel that they really got to start abolishing the private schools, because I feel that what's happening nowadays is we have our public schools and we have our private schools. So everybody who has money kind of looks at the public school, goes, yeah, I don't know. I don't really want my money going there. I'm going to put my kid in a private school. So it's almost like that money that could have went to the public school is now always going to the private schools, which means the public schools are kind of dumping out.
Well, yeah, and then the teachers the good teachers preferably work at the private schools because they pay better and they have a lot less kids. And the kids are usually a lot nicer because they got mean-ass rich parents.
Yeah. Exactly. But, I mean,
So,
I feel
they're there on privilege.
I feel like that's totally pulling down on the public schools, though, by having these private schools.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and it's almost one of those ones, if you're going to socialize schools like they kind of do, socialize all of them. Don't just socialize a part of them and then say, like, you got choices. I mean, I know America, we're supposed to have choices, but sometimes I feel like that choice really affects a lot of people, you know? And you don't really see it, like, I mean, like, up where we live in, like, Twain Hart, Yosemite area. You have public schools, and they're really not that bad. You know, I was watching this. I don't know if you guys ever saw this documentary called Waiting for Superman.
I never seen that.
It was a documentary on like kind of like public schools. But the only problem I kind of had with it was really just inner city schools like in Chicago, New York, and Los Angeles.
I have a quick question regarding that documentary. Superman doesn't really come in it, does he?
No. They cheapen out and they pull up.
Fucking...
No. Here, Superman is in the movie, but they cheapen out and they get like the old Superman footage that they don't have to pay any royalties for because it's in like public domain. What's his name? George Reeves.
Christopher Reeves?
No, George Reeves is the original Superman in the live action one.
Yeah.
Which that seems really weird.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, you know that role your dad committed suicide over? How would you like to reprise
it's not his dad, actually, technically.
George Reeves wasn't his dad?
No, I got this sweet Superman documentary you should watch. It goes through like the entire year. Yeah, I thought it was the whole time too, because I just kind of put 2 and 2 together. Like, he's Superman, and they have the same last name. Must make sense, but the tragedy involved, I kind of thought it was weird. But no, the Waiting for Superman actually does have Superman in it too, because that's what I thought too. When I first heard about that movie, I was like, oh, sweet, it's some Superman documentary. And it's like, it's about public schools? Like, what the fuck is this? But another problem...
They conned me.
Another problem I kind of have with this movie is at the very beginning, the guy that directed it, he says right away, he's like, well, I had the money. He's like, I had the choice between, like, to send my kids to public school or a private school. And I looked at the public school and said, well, I got enough money. I'm just going to send them to private school. So you're making a documentary about how bad these public schools kind of are and, like, that we really need to booster these. But you're part of the problem because you're sending your kids to private schools. That's part of the problem of why these public schools kind of suck.
Yeah.
But the thing I kind of like about the documentary, though, it really only focused on those inner city schools. Like, you didn't get to see the rest of America that's not, like, inner city. I mean, they showed a couple, like, tidbits. But, I don't know, like, they kind of focus on, like, inner city. This is the only thing that's a problem. And I know inner city is a big problem. I mean, they make a lot of movies about, like, Stand and Deliver.
Which is going just off movies.
We go off our awesome movies, because those are so
Dangerous
realistic.
Minds. So Dangerous Minds was, like,
Lean on me.
That book. Lean on me.
Aww.
But, that private school thing, I just really think that needs to be sort of abolished. I even think that when it comes down to colleges, too, I think they really just... Like, can we just put everything into one, like, barrel? Not like into that one thing, like stocks. Like, don't put all your stocks into one barrel. But, like, really, I think if we work all together, come on, people. Come on, join now, all together.
And that's where a couple of guys move. You sound like a goddamn commie. Yeah, you commie, hippie bastard want to put my kids with a bunch of kids that don't have enough money to buy themselves toothbrushes. I love how whenever you do the Republican voice, it's always the voice of drunk Batman.
Actually, I try to make that one slightly different than Drunk Batman. It has the same... It's in, like, almost like a similar vocal range, but...
Slightly sober Batman.
Like, I'll try Drunk Batman, and you do your redneck. Hey, Robin, guess what? I just fucked an inflatable dolphin! And that's why he is a goddamn commie! Alright, yeah, there's a difference. Never mind.
Different.
Yeah, okay.
See, I told you Drunk Batman would come in here eventually. We can't go more than, like, 20 minutes without having some Drunk Batman reference.
Or Batman in general.
Yeah.
Well, why not?
Yeah, it sells.
It's right. If they like it, why not?
But here we go. Okay, Nora, you went to school, college, and graduated.
I did.
Now, how did you feel about your whole college experience?
I didn't like it. Because my biggest problem with college is you're told all through high school that, you know, you're going to get to college and you get to pick your life. You get to pick all this stuff. You have all these choices. Lies. Those are big, fat lies. You get to college, and you know what they tell you have to do? The exact same shit you just did in high school. You get there, and it's, oh, okay, that's cool. You want to go do this class. But before you can take these cool classes, you have to complete X amount of units in English, complete X amount of units of math, complete X amount of units in science. All of it, all over again. And I'm like, I just fucking graduated high school. I got something here. It's called a high school diploma. Why do I need to get a GE if I just got something that's equivalent to a GED? My biggest question.
Exactly. They really just make you do the same shit over again.
By the time I left 5th grade, I was kind of like, all right, I think I've learned everything I need to know about writing an essay. Yet for some reason, I'm 23 years old sitting in a class, and they're going, okay, so this is how you write an essay. Let's break it down. I'm like, fuck, I've heard this since I was 5. I got it. Shit.
One of the main problems, too, also is you always hear from everybody's parents, like in the 60s and stuff, like in 60s and even maybe probably like early 70s, like how great kind of college was. Because it was a time when you went there just to learn. Literally learn, expand your mind, go places that you've never been before. And that's what college, to me, I think should be all about. But nowadays, it's set up like a system that you follow this path that's been already charted for you to get a piece of paper that apparently says you get a better job.
It's a lie also.
No,
I have a college in the field in which I have the college degree.
And there's a handful of people that I know that have that same thing too. They have a college degree, yet they can't get a job in their field.
Nope.
I mean, I know tons more people than that. That's not just a handful. I mean, a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
Not trying to shoot down anybody's thesis there, but I also think it also might be the fact that the times we live in, you know, just the job market, what it is right now and all that.
Well, that's also has to do with the times we live in, and that's all thanks to, you know, everybody taking out more money than they could spend.
Yeah.
But that's almost like a whole nother problem. I guess it all ties together. Everything kind of revolves around each other. One thing doesn't have about the other. But I'm more just talking about, like, why has college become, like...
a secondary high school?
Yeah, well, a secondary high school, and why is it, like, really just, like, a track plan where it's not about learning anymore, it's about doing tests to get a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Tests aren't learning. That's
Tests
not
are
learning at all.
memorizing. You're just memorizing.
Yeah, test is memorizing. That is working, but it's not learning.
Yeah.
And isn't college supposed to be all about learning?
Well, yeah, and that's what, like, sucks, because it's like, when my mom went to college, my mom went to Stanislaus State University, and when she went to college, she had a huge variety of things that she could take, and she took a lot of random classes and a whole kinds of things, and a lot of them, she said that she never took exams. They were strictly lecture classes, and you don't get that anymore. You don't get classes that are just a lecture class on a topic. You get classes where teachers don't talk with the students anymore. They talk at the student and expect you to just accept that for what it is, absorb it, and then regurgitate it in the test. And if you can regurgitate it perfect, you're golden. You get your grades and you get your paper, and woo, now go get a job. But it's like, do you really learn anything? Have you really enriched your life? No, not really at all.
I think test is probably one of the most inaccurate ways to really test someone's knowledge. No pun intended there. I just think it's one of those things where in real life, you don't get like 20 minutes and a number 2 pencil. You get resources, you get to look up. I mean, I understand the point of tests. I just don't think they should be nearly as important as they are. I don't think like half your grade or all your grade
yeah.
should be riding on these 2 or 4 tests or whatever. I just think it's a really broken system.
Oh yeah, I'm one of those people that you can see my classwork and see all my homework and everything, and it's fantastic, and it's working just fine, and it's all good grades, but I can't test well. I go in to take what's a test or an exam, and all of a sudden it's like it just goes out of my brain. I can't test very well. But all my classwork's fine. I know the material. I just can't regurgitate it in the way they want me to.
I know exactly what you mean.
I know, yeah. That's always bummed me. Well, here, I always have this joke. I've had it for a long time. That I go, well, I watch the History Channel, and I get to learn stuff. But they don't make me take a test afterwards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I watch something on World War II, or I watch something on Nikola Tesla, but they don't say, like, okay, now pull out your number 2 pencil, and we're going to do 100...
Pop quiz!
Yeah, pop quiz! You know, it's just learning, and it's just like, whatever happened to just pure learning?
It died.
And the other thing also, this is the other problem I always have with college nowadays, too, is what most college classes are, you go in there, and all a teacher does, he doesn't really even teach anymore. And he even tells you in that class that, like, no, teaching was for high school. Here, I'm going to talk, and I'm going to give you this book, and pretty much everything you're going to learn from this book, but I'm not really going to do too much about it. You're going to read this book. And you're just like, well, I could go to the library and ask somebody to recommend me a book, and I could just read that too for a whole lot less.
Yeah.
I mean, are you going to teach, or are you just going to tell me to read a book?
Yeah, and that's what it is they talk at you now. There's no more of... So that's one of the other things that my mom would tell me, and my dad would tell me stories of them being in college, both at Columbia College here or at Stanislaus State University, where they would have conversations with their teachers. It wasn't just teacher talking, you ask questions. It was like they'd have legit conversations with their teachers, both in and out of the classroom, about all the topics. You don't do that nowadays. You see your teacher in class, he talks at you, you write down what they say, you leave. And that's it. There's no extended beyond that. And I don't know if that's on the teachers or if it's on the students to, like, that we don't do that anymore. We don't approach the teachers outside of the classroom and want to learn more on our own. Or if it's the fact that the teachers kind of shut themselves off so much so, and they're so guarded that they're like, you can only talk to me during my office hours only. And they don't offer themselves up as a resource outside the classroom anymore.
Mm-hmm.
The really fucked up thing is some classes, I mean, some occupations you don't need to go for any kind of degree. Others, though, you need a degree. There's no way to get into it. Yet once you get that degree, there's no openings for it.
Well, I agree. Like, I always think, like, a doctor, becoming a doctor, I'm pretty sure that's a pretty one you need a degree for. You know, being a lawyer, even though I don't really, you gotta really fix that. That's another problem altogether, though. But being a lawyer, I think you need a degree for. You know, being a scientist, being an engineer in like certain fields, that's stuff you need a degree for. Now, what I always think is the biggest joke is art degrees.
Oh,
I don't
the
think
liberal arts degrees? Yes.
Because here's the thing, I don't think there's anything wrong with like an art school if it's one of those school like in like England, at least back in the day. I say this like I know it because I've read a lot of like these like
Books.
autobiographies by like Keith Richards and like the Beatles. Because John Lennon, Keith Richards, like what happened is like back in like those days, you either went to high school or you went to an art school. And in the art school, you just kind of learned like music and art, and you stuck more towards that, which was I think it's kind of an ingenious idea. I'm pretty sure that still carries along in London to this day, in England.
Oh yeah, the way the European schools are set up and are designed are way advanced compared to our setups over here, which is funny to me because it's like we can see it, we can watch, we have the statistics that tell us that their style of schooling outdoes ours 10-1 easy. Yet for some reason we still stick with the same system we have because we're America, we can't change, we're the best. No, we're not. I'm sorry, but I have friends who live in foreign countries. One of which is my friend Maureen, and she lives in France. She's from France. By the time she was 16 years old, she was fluent in 4 languages, including English, which in Europe is not considered a foreign language anymore. You just have to learn it. Period. It's not considered a foreign language. When you're in the schools over there, to get out of high school, you have to master 3 languages. It's usually your home language, the 2 countries surrounding you, and then one of your choice. And it used to be very long ago, English was an option as just another country. Now English is just a standard. You have to learn the English language as well as your 3 others. And then when you get into college, she at this point is the exact same age as me. She is 23 years old, and she is fluent in 6 languages.
Well, yeah, most people I know from Europe, they know at least 5 or 6 languages. I mean, they don't have to be the brightest guy, too. Like, you know, the kid that would have sat in the back of the class knows at least 4 languages. I mean, one thing I will say about living on, like, the west side of the U.S., I've tried to learn other languages, and every single time I try to learn another language, I went, who the hell am I going to talk to? Like,
Right?
I tried to learn Japanese once, and I was like, well, I don't have anybody to fucking talk to. I tried to learn French, and I was like, I don't have anybody to talk to. Like, what is the point of, like, learning these languages? I mean, who are you going to talk to over here?
Yeah.
The only real 2 languages over here is English and Spanish if you start getting into, like, the valley and south.
Well, that's not even Spanish, technically. That's Mexican.
Well, yeah, that's the
And there's a difference. And the Spanish do get pissed off at that because Maureen told me that. Because that's one of her defining things is she knows Spanish and she knows Mexican Spanish. She's not fluent in Mexican Spanish, but she is fluent in Spain Spanish. They're 2 completely different styles. And a lot of people don't think that. And it's like, yeah, they want us to learn Spanish in high school, but it's like, nobody speaks Spanish in this country. Nobody speaks Spanish in California. They speak Mexican Spanish, which is like the ghetto Spanish.
Well, I remember in Spanish class, I thought it was really dumb that we learned both Spanish and Mexican Spanish. Sounds confusing. But just for the fact that, like, okay, it's already kind of, like, hard for an American to comprehend one language. Don't give us, like, 2 different ways to say something. It's kind of like if you took an English class and you're like, okay, we're going to learn American English, we're going to learn English, and we're going to learn Australian English. And you're like, whoa.
Just New Jersey English, too.
Yeah, New Jersey.
Yeah, New Jersey.
We're going to learn Cajun English.
Alaskan English.
Redneck.
Canadian English. Well, I guess the same thing as Alaskan English, probably.
And
fairly
broken
close.
English.
Yeah, and then you got the good old-fashioned broken English. Welcome to Northern California. We have our own word. It's called hella.
Yeah.
Nobody else says this word except for people from Monterey Bay and up in California. Just in California, you say it in Oregon, they go, huh? You say it in Southern California, they go, ah, you're from NorCal. Got it.
I'm sure other states probably have their own
Well,
words.
it's
Own
not
words.
just-
We
yeah.
make up words nowadays. There's no defining point anymore. You just say stuff and that's a cool word. There you go.
Sadly enough, too, I always feel that this is one of the downfalls of TV, is that the California dialect, which I really think is one of the most bland, not the stereotype California, which is like the whoa, bro, which is like the 90s surfer one.
Pauly Shore.
Yeah, there's like that kind of one, but just
Sean Penn
the
pastimes.
There
California
you go.
like accent is really like a flat accent.
Yeah.
It is, there's no twang to it, there's no roll to it. And sadly enough, because of TV, it's spread throughout, so you kind of lose accents. That saddened me when I went to like the southern states, how hard it was to find a southern accent.
A legit
You had to
southern
like
accent.
you had to go like deep down to find an actual accent, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And even in southern places, you know, you would have like half people would speak kind of just regular California English, and the other half would have like a faint accent, maybe.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe. And then you find a couple like thick ones that like you don't know where they came from.
Yeah, it's like those guys out of Scotland that have been there for so long that they don't actually speak words. Their brogues are so thick you have no idea what they're saying.
Oh, what do you like it?
Yeah.
Hey, lass, yeah?
Yeah, and you understand like every third word. Okay, smile and nod.
I heard Guinness.
Yeah.
That
All
was
right,
maybe
beer. Got it. Let's go
bagpipes,
drink.
maybe.
Something. I'm not sure.
Wants to play golf, or he just called me the N-word. I'm not sure.
Oh,
But
God.
the language thing's always that. But that's always I feel like the U.S. I mean, like yeah, it'd be great if we learn languages, but we don't have anybody to speak them to. That's the only thing.
Well, and the other issue is they don't introduce a language until you're past the point of learning another language.
Well, yeah,
I learned tidbits of Spanish when we were in kindergarten. We had like, Cinco de Mayo, so you learn hola
like 20
and like
words.
yeah, you learn a few words when your brain is actually meant to absorb another language around that young age. And then you never see it again, and all of a sudden you're 14 years old, they shove you into high school and go, "Here, learn Spanish."
Middle school, I learned enough Spanish to pass with a C.
Oh yeah. See,
Yeah.
like when I was in like 7th and 8th grade, they took away the Spanish class because I switched over to another school, and in a sense, as a kid, it was kind of cool. It sounds like, I mean, like they literally took away every elective. Every elective was gone, but you got out at 2 o'clock, which was pretty fucking badass. That was like the
I have a
upside.
spare hour to do nothing.
So like it was like, yeah, you literally just did math, science, English, history, and PE. I think that was it. There was just 5 of them.
And you're done.
And you were done. No music, no second language, no computer classes, no nothing. But you got out early, which almost like, to me, I'm one of those people like I can learn on my own.
Yeah.
I don't need to like be at school to learn stuff. Like I can actually come home and read a book and learn, which is my favorite way of learning personally, is just by reading books.
Yeah.
Whenever I want to learn something, I just go out and pick up a book that I want to learn. You buy it used, you get it for like $5 maybe of shipping and handling, and I get to learn. That's how I like that in my conversations.
The lost art of books.
Yeah, the lost art of books and conversations. That's the 2 best ways to learn.
Real conversations, not conversations that are LOL, OMG. I'm sorry, I use real words. I'm a big girl now.
The guy who got the fastest texter in the world says that he never ever uses any of those. He types in full sentences with periods, punctuation, no grammar mistakes, and he's the fastest typer.
That's a good
Or
man.
texter, I guess. Yeah.
That's a good man.
There always have these weird stories in the back of Time magazines that are like sort of interesting. They don't like affect anything, but they're kind of interesting.
The fluff pieces.
Yeah.
It's the fluff piece that makes you, after reading Time magazine and going, oh, look how sad our country is. Oh, look, somebody can text really fast, accurately. High five.
There's a faint bit of hope. A faint.
We'll give like the world news 7 like little like sections on like a 2-page panel, but this kid who can text faster than anybody else will get a full fucking page at the back.
Hell yeah. It's a useful skill nowadays. Didn't you know that?
Well, it sort of is. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like that. I like text messaging. It really makes it like when you live in a world. When I say a world, when you live in a county
in a world with
yeah.
text messages.
It gets very little service. A text message is fantastic because like you can't keep a phone call because it'll go out, but you can always send a text.
Yeah.
I don't know what this has to do with education or how we got here, but it just kind of works its way into it.
I think the funniest thing for me is kids nowadays are so dependent on technology in class and outside of school that most of them forgot that the original text messaging for all you 90s children out there was called a pager.
Yeah.
If anybody remembers a pager,
I remember a pager.
What you did is you called somebody up, and then you would type in your message, and they would go bzz, bzz on their waist, and they could either pop it up and read the message, or pop it up and they'd see that you called, and then they go find a landline, hey.
Or a payphone.
Or a payphone, yeah, those cool things used to exist, and they would call you and have a real conversation.
Really quickly, I thought when you said like, if you remember correctly, I'll say like the original way of a text message in class though was you wrote it on a piece of paper.
You wrote a note.
And you passed it between other children. And halfway through that process, the teacher caught somebody and pulled it up and made you read it in front of the class.
And that's when we all worked together to get our secrets across and ask who wanted to date who.
There's teamwork involved.
Teamwork.
Well, they also got. Fuck, what was I saying?
He lost his thought. It's gone.
No. Well, you also got the thing where you get kids that want like cell phones at like an iPhone, like at age 8.
What do you
need that for? Yeah.
Well, it's like, who the fuck do you know?
You gotta check your stocks.
This this summer, I think, oh God, right? They have stocks standard on there. I'm like, yeah, 12-year-olds buying this thing. They don't even know what a stock is.
I got stocks on Play-Doh, Fisher-Price, what?
What now?
Tonka trucks.
No, the worst thing I think I heard this entire summer working at the lovely public pool was a kid who was maybe 12 years old, jumps into the pool, realizes his cell phone's in his pocket, and pops up and goes, oh, dang it, my phone's in my pocket. Oh, well, my mom will just buy me a new one. Yeah, right. If
Little bastard.
Right? If my parents gave me, when they did give me a cell phone when I was a freshman in high school and was doing traveling sports, had a reason for a cell phone, the first thing they told me is if you break it, you're stuck.
Probably if I broke my phone back, like, well, nowadays, like, I own my own phones, but, like, if I would have broken the one back in the day, my dad would have gave me, like, $5 in quarters and said, here, you can make some calls.
Yeah, go find a payphone. I'm sure there's one on your campus.
Well, the way that I always look at a cell phone, I feel like there's three things that kind of go hand in hand. Now, it just depends where you live, if you can walk places, but up here where you can kind of have to drive almost everywhere.
All the time.
Unless you want to be like me and ride a bike and get tuckered out halfway through, but,
yeah, this is not flatlands up here. He rides up and down mountains.
So, yeah. But I always feel that three things go hand in hand, and it's a job, a phone, and a car. You don't have any of them without the other ones. You know what I mean? Because, if you're going to have a car, you better have a job to pay for it. And then if you have a car, you might as well have a cell phone just so you can, like, just in case there's an emergency.
And something happens to your car.
And then, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you got to have all three.
I'm sorry, I was checking this thing on my computer real quick.
The computers are all falling asleep.
Yeah, we're talking about just, like, job, cell phone, and car kind of all go hand in hand.
Yeah.
They all pay for each other, and they're all kind of there. But this, like, the cell phone thing, I don't know, when I was a kid, like, I mean, where did you ever go? Like, I was either at my own house or I went to my friends' houses. I mean, and I'm talking about, like, 10 and back. I mean, like, we rode our bicycles maybe somewhere, or maybe our parents dropped us off at the lake or the pool, but, like, we didn't go.
Why was lake in quotation marks?
I don't know.
The Swainhart Lake isn't really a lake. It's a very oversized dirt pond.
And what I mean by that, I guess what I mean by the quotation marks is that it's, like, security. It's not like we went to, like, the old, like, quarry, where there was nobody watching except for, like, old Stinky by the railroad tracks.
Waiting to rape some kids, yeah.
Yeah,
the old man just hanging out and just watching.
Hey, kids, you want some popsicles? I got some popsicles over here.
But you gotta come in a cave first. They're magical popsicles.
They're beautiful.
I got the rafts in here. They make nice cushions.
Oh,
God. Oh, good. Pedophilia, it's always a good one.
Speaking of caves and children's, this has nothing to do with anything, but there was a fire one time, and they left the hose up in the mountains, so we decided to drag this hose into, like, an old mining cave so we could have a seat. I wonder if that hose is still there. This would have been like 12 years ago. I bet it hasn't gone anywhere because nobody goes in those caves.
This is like the start of an independent like horror film. Hey guys, go see that hose is still there. Oh shit!
The hose came to life, and it now dwells in a cave.
Yeah. Well, actually, that sounds like a Stephen King book.
He really does. The hose that owns a cave.
The hose is actually like, it's on like an Indian burial ground or some shit.
Yeah. It's possessed.
It's
gonna wreak havoc on the white man.
It's where these miners like collapsed in like a mine and died.
There you go.
I said that, but,
the hose was meant to save their lives.
If you can't think of anything else, Indian burial ground.
Right.
Yeah. Classic.
Classic for this country. You got Europe. You got the Black Forest in Europe.
There you go. Europe, you get anything Celtic.
You get all kinds of really cool stuff over there. We don't got a lot of fun stories here in America like that.
Apparently, because Cisco, who's been on the podcast a couple times before, he told me there's a pig lady in Maryland.
Well, there's all kinds of weird shit over on the East Coast.
Like,
you get like the Jersey Devil, and then you also get like the Chupacabra. I can't pronounce it right now.
Chupacabra.
Yeah, the Chupacabra.
It almost sounds kind of like it. Chupacabra.
Well, the thing that's
so
funny about
like it's southern, but
yeah, well, because that thing started out in Mexico, and apparently it's ran its way across the country.
Yeah,
people
like
see them
Florida.
people see them all over the country now, and I'm like, I thought there was like one, and I thought it was haunting like Mexico City. They did a ScoobyDoo on it, and they had to be in Mexico City.
Yeah,
but now all of a sudden the Chupacabra is running around, and like Miami.
It's ScoobyDoo, so it must be fact.
Wait, is that
heck yeah!
Which show is that one in the Scooby? Is that in the 70s one, the original?
No, it was a movie.
Oh, okay. So it's like I never saw that one.
That is one of the joys of having a 7-year-old cousin is you get to see all the updated Scooby-Doo stuff, and some of them are really good, and some of them suck.
And you don't gotta feel bad about it, you know?
Nope, I just go, oh, there's my excuse, I was babysitting.
Well, there's one that, like, there's a live-action Scooby-Doo show nowadays, and I'm like, that's actually a really badass idea, though. I mean, like, obviously, I'm probably not gonna watch it nowadays.
A show?
It's live-action, though. I mean, ScoobyDoo's CG, but like,
Well,
it's
yeah.
actors and stuff.
It was just some guy in a fucking tacky costume, like you could like see the fucking zipper or something. No way kids would buy that. We'd buy that back in the '90s, but not this day and age.
Yeah,
Oh, good God, no.
I don't know what it is. Yeah, when we were as a kid, like you'd buy anything that was on TV.
Oh, yeah, if it was on TV, it was fact. Now, if it's on internet, it's fact.
Yeah.
What's kind of funny about like when I was a kid too about watching TV is you would watch shows you didn't like, but you'd watch them anyways.
Superman and Batman is in this, so I gotta watch the Super Friends.
Exactly, but
Right.
you hate that show. Well, mainly to me is like there was a better show that came on afterwards. I don't remember what it is by now.
Something on Toonami.
So I had to wait literally a fucking hour through the Super Friends, which is a horrible show. I mean, it's got Superman and Batman in it, so you kind of at first you go like, how bad can it be? But
Then you watch it and you go, it can be that bad.
I don't know. It always made me angry.
It's
Well, the
aged in
other-
the '70s, is what it is.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I miss about TV, though, is TV. TV shows. Not goddamn crap reality TV that's not even really reality. It's just whiny people.
That's
I miss like the creativity of coming up with a show where all the characters are fake. I like watching TV because it helps me escape from reality. I don't turn on to TV to watch more reality.
Did you guys hear that shit about Kim Kardashian believes she deserves a star on the Walk of Fame? Hollywood Walk of Fame?
Yeah, wasn't it fucking Hollywood
think it was
Babylon?
Is Hollywood Babylon or Titus Podcast, one or the other?
Yeah, it's not something like that.
That
Why?
bitch believes because she thinks she's famous enough and she deserves to be there with fucking.
Has she read most of these stars and realized that these people actually did legit work? It's called a job, sweetie.
She thinks she needs to be up there with like Clint Eastwood and Paul Newman and fucking Humphrey Bogart.
Mm,
Adam
yeah.
West.
Adam West. Sorry.
Adam West.
I can't
Adam
help it.
West. That was a Family Guy episode, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
That's where I heard that. Okay.
Yes.
It wasn't a Batman episode.
He didn't do that in Fat Man on Batman. Just started singing that.
Did you know he was also Catman?
Yeah.
Catman in Fairly Odd Parents. A lot of people didn't figure that one out.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I was the only kid in like 6th grade that was laughing at that. I'm like, ha ha ha, it's Adam West. He's Catman. And all my friends are like, who the fuck's Adam West? I'm like,
Did you ever
Batman?
watch Batman?
Yeah, Batman when he climbs up the side of a.
This
A
is the
building?
problem with education. We don't have a Batman time in education.
We need more Batman, and this is not working properly.
You can learn so much from Batman. I mean, he ran with a bomb for almost 15 minutes and it never exploded. It's the most amazing bomb in the world.
Then a fucking shark grabbed onto his leg.
And he was
he
fine.
slapped it for like 10 minutes before it
Yeah.
just dropped off.
Still,
No, did he jam like dynamite in his mouth or something? Or?
Something.
and it blows up. And my
Yeah.
favorite part is it's in that same scene. This is in the Batman '60s movie.
The 1963.
Yeah,
just
I
recently
think it's
looked it back up.
66 or something like that. But
63, I think, was the last one I watched.
the movie that they made of it is like, I love this part. There's a missile coming at Batman and Robin,
I love this part.
and then it blows up in the water, and Batman just leans with the Robin and goes, "Thank God that porpoise was there to save our lives." He
Back
made
when
a
whale
grand
killing was
sacrifice
funny.
that day.
The life before PETA. The
Well,
life.
you think that, like, you think back on this is like totally off topic, but there's that movie Milo and Otis. You're just like, oh, Milo and Otis, you know, a good old, the original Homer Bat. There's a part where the cat goes off the cliff. They literally had to chuck a fucking cat off that cliff.
I know. I've been wanting to watch. I keep seeing that movie in the $5 bin, and I'm like, because when I was a kid, I watched that movie so many times, Milo and Otis,
Right.
and I
I
really want to
kinda-
watch it again just to watch it again.
Well, I kind of wondered too. I used to watch it all the time as a kid, and it's like, yeah, I contemplate, like, ooh, do I really want to get this on DVD? But then I think about it, and I'm like, I think the only reason I ever watched it that much on TV is because it was always on TV.
Well, I used to rent it from like the video scene. It was just kind of like, because
Oh.
videos used to have a sweet selection like back in the day.
Which I don't want to be this guy. I don't want to like take away work. There's one person, because that was actually, believe it or not, that's a Japanese movie. It was just very easy to make it make it in English because you got to get one guy dubbing over these animals. But it was just that one guy voicing everybody else. So you think it seems extremely lazy. You think they would?
It's a really low budget.
You think they would have got one? No, this is the only guy we could afford. You get in there, American man. You sing. You talk with dog and cat. Do it now.
So that's like what's like kind of cool to go back and watch those shows that you kind of forget about. Like when you watch Power Rangers, because everything that's not like the kind of like the characters out of their costume, you know, it's all Japanese. So like you like read it, and it's kind of fun to watch because like she's totally dubbed like kind of badly because I mean obviously speaking Japanese.
Rita.
Uh huh. And just some of those things is kind of cool to see. But I still, to this day, it's like I really want to see like the Japanese version of like Power Rangers. What is it like in Japan? But you can't just like go and buy season sets, not at least in the U.S.
Of course not.
Like they're a bunch of like the stoner kids in class. They're like dealing and shit like that. Just like the total like worst like kids to look up to.
But they're all Japanese, so they're cool.
Yeah, they're all Japanese.
It's fine.
It's like Akira, but only they're Power Rangers.
Yeah, that's probably what it's like, actually. Well, what about Mitt Romney and the 47%? What do you think about that?
What about that? I think he made a major ass of himself.
Well,
Short
definitely.
and simple of it.
And he even had to come back and sort of like apologize.
He
Slightly.
He kind of came out like, I can't take credit for this. Christopher Titus mentioned this on his in his stand-up routine. He's like, did you guys see that when Mitt Romney came out? He kind of looked scared. He looked like fucking Wolverine was out to get him.
They said Wolverine's not yet. You picture it like Wolverine from the X-Men is out to get him.
I think he meant that. He said looked like Wolverine.
He said Wolverine's plural.
Oh, okay.
I think kind of funny though. Just like Wolverine was just tracking him.
No, there's no yellow.
What'd you say about the 47%, bub? I don't pay income tax. Does that make me a problem?
That's the way. I love how like the word Wolverine's mentioned. What's the first thing comes to Dunny's mind?
Comic books.
I'd like to introduce you to my friend, Beast.
God.
Oh, so us mutants are a liability, huh? We can't get married, huh? Is that what it is? Yeah.
I'd love to see Mitt Romney like in an X-Men comic.
That would be the case. Actually, wait long enough. Mark Millar will probably write
somebody
it.
will put him in there because like, even though it's like strange enough, that's the stuff I don't really like about Marvels when they combine like the kind of real life stuff in there. But I wouldn't mind seeing some shit like that.
X-Men versus Mitt Romney. Well, no, he came out with the whole thing saying like, oh yeah, 47% of people don't pay income tax, so fuck them. They're on their own, which they do get taxed on their paychecks. They do pay sales tax. And, there's other things I'm sure of.
Well, I still think one of the greatest things, like ideas that they had, and Jesse Ventura had this when he ran for governor, was that you just focus on sales tax. You don't tax people because they work. Because somebody wants to save some money and work, don't tax those guys. Everybody's got to buy shit anyways. And the thing is, if you do just sales tax, excuse me, choking on water. I drank a while ago.
Choking on
all
air.
the illegal immigrants who are buying shit will be taxed, so at least they're paying taxes now. Everybody will be paying taxes. Doesn't matter who it is. Tourist, anybody from other countries, everybody's paying taxes. But not people that are working hard and want to save.
Yeah, because that's, I think, the bitch of it all is it's like, I work a 40-hour week, and then all of a sudden I get my paycheck, and it's like, oh, I'm going to take about 70% of that and give it back to the government. Yeah, there you go. Even though you just wasted an entire week.
I'll be honest, Mitt Romney, okay, whether you're left or right, I don't care. My thing is, it's not even so much of like, it's not so much I hate Mitt Romney, or generally a lot of people, the Republican Party, not so much for like their financial reasons or economic things. It's always like jamming the Bible shit down our throats.
Right.
That's my big thing. I don't have a problem. I have like some really religious friends that are great people and they're not judgmental. But it's the fact that you get a lot of these politicians who, they say they're religious, but clearly they're fucking not. Otherwise, they wouldn't be going about things the way they are.
I feel if you have to preach it, you obviously can't practice it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like one of those ones, it's just that misguided thing. It's like, if you've ever read the Bible, that's not what it fucking says, Jesus is really like the king of the hippies. That when it really gets down to it, that's who Jesus is. And
the good
Jesus,
hippies.
Well, yeah, he's the good hippies. Jesus is like fucking socialist too when it really gets down to it, because it's all about everybody working together and helping each other out. And that's the sad part about the Republican Party is it's not really a Republican Party anymore. It's a capitalist party nowadays. It's not like the good old days, because the old-fashioned Republican way is that everybody chips in, but you don't get anything for free. You got to work hard for it. And nowadays it's like, no. I'm going to go real high up in the world, and everybody else, I'm going to kick that ladder down and not let you guys get up there. And that's what's become. It's a capitalist party, not the Republican Party.
Yeah. That's not good.
It drives me angry.
I believe someone really said something. I didn't even read this. I just saw the headline, and I printed it. Someone I really respect and admire had something to say about Mitt Romney. Eddie Vedder, which... I'll be honest, I don't really know a whole lot about his autobiography. He always seemed...
Wait, he's got an autobiography?
Not an autobiography. I don't really know a whole lot about his life.
Like, what the fuck?
I'll have to check that out. I don't know really a whole lot about his life. Of all the grunge rockers, he seemed kind of like the guy who wandered in like, hey guys, is this Baja Fresh? No, this is the Pearl Jam recording studio. Oh, well, here's a mixtape. You know, that's kind of what it sort of seemed like.
Just happened to have it on me. Well, that's kind of how. Well, he doesn't come from Seattle. He came from California. He's like a surfer dude, and then like came up to Seattle just because he had that tape, that magical tape that somehow got to him. I can't forget it from the documentary.
He apparently put up a fundraiser for Obama here.
Oh.
Going off here.
Oh yeah. Well, so what do you do for Obama?
Reading it right now. He put up a fundraiser from what I can see so far.
Well, Obama. I got
talks amongst yourselves.
Yeah, well, here, that's what I gotta say. I get these emails from Obama like every day. I get about 2 or 3 of them, and they almost feel like peer pressure emails. Like Obama's got me like held up in a restroom, and there's nowhere to go. There's no windows in here, and he's just like, because it's always like Spencer, yo, and they always come to me like
Spencer, yo. I love it, Spencer, yo.
Well,
let me toss some shit at you right now about what's going on in politics.
Well, my favorite thing is the titles of all the emails are like, Spencer, hey. And he's like, and they're always like, Spencer.
He's your best friend.
Yeah, no, they really come across like that. Like we're going to need $3 from you. You know what I mean? You got to help out. $3, that's all I'm asking. I mean, if you got more, give it to me. But it's just like every day it's like 3. Now I actually moved it to 5. It's not $3 anymore. Now he wants 5. But it's just kind of like, what? You don't got $3. I'm asking for $3 motherfucking dollars here, and you don't got it? Rolling up his sleeves, slapped me around a couple times. And then he brings in Joe Biden, and you're like, fuck, is this good cop, bad cop? No, this is bad cop, bad cop. And it's just that there's all these, like, peer pressure, like, for me to do $3. And he keeps, like, saying these things like, Spencer, you, me, dinner.
Is that a question? No.
No, you're showing up, and you're bringing $5.
I'm just imagining you being at a public restroom. You're at a urinal. You turn around, just Obama and Biden are just stand there. So...
And then I got one.
Where's my money, bitch?
Here was one of my favorite titles I got one too. I got one from Michelle Obama and it said, Spencer, you're amazing.
That means a lot. She's a good-looking woman.
I had a friend.
Except for that lazy eye of hers. God, it drives me nuts.
I had a friend.
Her first lady. Come on.
This is my favorite thing. I had a friend and somebody asked, who do you think of as a hot woman? He's like, well, when I think of a hot black woman, he's like, when I think of a hot black woman, I think Michelle Obama. I just thought that was funny. That was the one he picked out of like every black woman.
Oh, God.
For me, Alicia Keys, but you know,
but Michelle Obama.
She's good looking too.
But I just think these emails I get, they make me laugh. I actually get one from like Cal Penn. I thought was pretty badass too. It's like, dude, Kumar just sent me an email.
Woohoo!
Which I'm gonna say this. First off, I like Obama. I think I need $5 more than he does. I'm just gonna say that right now. But I like Obama. But another thing, even though I like Kumar, it kind of sucks when, like, I'll be honest, Clint Eastwood is one of my biggest heroes, so it was a little bit of a heartbreak when he was supporting Romney. But especially since he's for gay rights and he's an environmentalist, which makes no sense to me why he'd go to, but whatever. It's besides the point. It's a whole other topic. But it's like, who do you got? We got Clint Eastwood. Who do we got? We got Kumar.
Yeah,
It is kind of a sad comparison.
I got the stoner.
Really. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
There
like,
you go.
like Kumar, but you know, Clint Eastwood's a major badass.
But back to
The Ved.
The Ved, yes. It says right here, Eddie Vedder said, "It's very upsetting to hear a presidential candidate be so easily dismissive of such a ginormous amount of the population," Vedder said in the fundraiser in Tampa. Vedder, who never went to college. Let me see the rest of this. Yeah. Continue talking amongst yourself. This is not an internet connection. We literally, the setup here.
Literally, he saved this in fucking Microsoft Word.
Yeah. There's no. That's how. We're probably the only podcast that doesn't have an internet connection right here. We literally have to go somewhere and like upload this thing.
See, that's why I like you know, this is what you get for the Yosemite Podcast. You know,
talk amongst yourself.
We're out in the middle of the woods doing one practically. Literally, we just have
We're quite literally on top of a mountain with no internet connection.
There's a bear looking through the window. That's not true, but it would be later.
It would not shock me. It would not shock me in the least if one just came wandering by. Because when we went to high school, we didn't have lockdowns for kids with knives and guns. We had lockdowns because we had mountain lions and bears, and all the rednecks just happened to carry guns in their trucks, anyways.
Yeah, guns was, you know,
guns
half the trucks
wasn't
had a gun rack.
Half the trucks at our school came with gun racks, so guns weren't really our school's primary concern. Their concern was more, oh crap, we got a mountain lion that could maul our kids to death. Oh shit, we got a bear that's up there sniffing our goats. Yeah.
It continues to say, Vedder, who never went to college, described the struggles looking for in the years before made it into a rock star. He credited a government security guard training program with paving the way to keep him working in his music career. So it's good to know that Vedder is supporting Obama.
Well, yeah, at least Obama's got, Eddie Vedder's a good candidate to have. I mean,
good supporter, I guess.
Yeah. Or yeah, candidate. Eddie Vedder for president.
Woohoo! I'd be down.
Yeah.
You
Why
personally
not?
like first thing is let's move the White House to Hawaii, so I can surf every morning.
That's nice that you want me to live in the White House, but I'm just gonna make special appearances there.
Yeah, I got my own house. What is it? Oh, it's a shack right next to the ocean. It's great.
The White Shack. Didn't you know?
The White Shack.
The White Shack
The
sounds
White
like a
Shack.
clan
That
meeting
really
here.
does sound like
There
this
you
guy
go.
that calls himself the Grand Dragon. He's kind of a dick, but he
But
knows how to,
on
he
the
knows how-
waves, he's the master surfer.
he knows how to barbecue. Let me tell you that.
He can roast a pig with the best of them.
He's also the guy that told us that those Hawaiian guys have to move to the other side of the island, but
Apparently, diversity is not his thing. That's
How-
all right.
Well, I don't know. You meet people from Hawaii lots of times, and people from Hawaii are fucking racist like no other. You think people from the South are racist? Like, because you get two types.
Hawaiians are horrible.
Well, you get the Hawaiians who are racist, and then you get the witch, or the witch. The witch! You get the witches that come out at night. No. You get the rich, like, white, like, kind of yuppie people out there, and they're like, those fucking Hawaiians getting in the way of my front lawn and my lake.
Oh,
I don't
God.
know why I said
That
lake.
I had to destroy a village in order to create this lake, even though there's a beach right there.
And we have a pool, because you know what? You gotta have a pool right next to the ocean.
Yeah. No
Also-
ocean is complete without a very own pool next door. Hey.
Every
I
rich
got-
person in Hawaii always says, having a pool is what it's all about. It's like, you live on the fucking beach. It's hot 24/7 year round. What do you mean you need
Yeah.
a pool?
Why do you need a pool when you have the ocean?
Well,
for
we don't like
free?
Well, I heard someone say that once lived in Hawaii, because I know some people in Hawaii. They're actually some pretty good people. But
No, I have a lot of friends from Hawaii.
Yeah.
It just kind of happens.
But so there's that there.
I spent a good portion of my childhood there.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. But no, I heard the thing like, well, in the pool you don't have to wash off salt water, so.
No, instead
there's
you
that
have
argument.
chlorine that's gonna
Yeah.
stain your skin. Awesome. I've been in both. I've dealt with both, and I rather smell like salt water all day than chlorine all day. At least I can fall asleep on a salty arm.
I wasn't defending it. I was just saying that was their argument.
Yeah. Oh, I don't like getting the sand everywhere. Then don't buy a place on the beach. Go live in the forest where you can
Be like
put in a
Anakin
pool.
Skywalker. I don't like sand. It's just so sandy.
Sandy.
Well, yeah, Anakin Skywalker. I can see why he didn't like sand. You wake up every day and just like sand.
I live in a
More
house.
I didn't even
sand.
think of that. Yeah, because he's from Tatooine. Okay, yeah.
He
Like,
was
lives
just
in
like-
a house built out of sand
yeah.
in an area surrounded by sand.
If a poor kid ever just ran up to that little like house, just like chucked a rock, and the whole thing just crumbles down. Annie, fuck!
No, I'm not fixing it.
Go down to the store and buy some more super glue.
Yeah.
That whole part of that movie, just the second one. I mean, the prequels aren't masterpieces. Just that part, it's like I don't like sand. It's so sandy. There's like a cartoon of that making fun of it somewhere, like a stick figure thing. Like it's not
Probably
like you, Padme.
something on Robot Chicken.
It's like
Sounds like a Robot Chicken thing.
It's not like you, Padme. You're the opposite of Sandy. You're not Sandy. That's why I love you. For some reason, I have a British accent. I don't know why, but yeah.
Because that's what they do.
They do.
Well, when you want to make it old timey, you give them a British accent. Doesn't matter what
Yeah.
part of the country they're or what part of the world they're from. It's old timey. It's it's 200 years ago, 300 years ago. English accent.
Let me
Yeah.
tell you about a thing called MTV.
Well, that
There
was
was this band called Soundgarden once.
a long time ago.
They also played this thing called Beavis and Butthead.
Well, the English accent is funny because it's like you watch movies or TV shows where it's like they're in the dead middle of Italy, way
Yeah.
back thousands and thousands of years ago in this time called BC, before Christ. Hey, we existed before him, and
British
yet every
accent.
time they talk, it's a British accent. You're like, I'm in the middle of Rome right now. Like, how are you all English?
Well, in Troy, they have English accents.
Yeah, you got any old time movie you watch, you're like you're out in Scotland and doing Braveheart, and somehow you still get men running around with English accents. I'm like, time to fix the problem, people. You're not in England.
I think it's probably, I don't know if it's just an American movie thing, but I think it's probably one of those things like Yeah, well, the Brits created acting, so back in this times, it's a whole, like...
Yeah, so we just have to make everything way back in the day has to be with an English accent.
It makes it sound more sophisticated if it's with a British accent.
Yeah.
What is a Spartan accent? Like, did we even have that? Like, I mean, does anybody even know what a Spartan accent is?
I think it was this. I think that's what it was.
Probably.
Well, because they would speak, like Italian, basically. Like,
I can't even imagine them speak Italian. I just imagine just being angry grunts and yelling. Well, killing.
Big hotness. Woo!
That's all I can really imagine,
That's because you're a boy. See, us girls, we have a vast imagination when it comes to Spartans.
Ever since 300. The only time girls ever gave a shit about war movies.
Yes, is when you put hot men with 8-pack abs in capes and loincloths and said, "Go fight, my men, go fight." And all of us women went, "We don't give a shit about the bloodshed. Look at his body."
I saw a movie with one friend of mine. I was like, "You want to go see 300?" She's like, "I don't want to see. What is it?" It's a movie about Spartans. Like, that sounds dumb. She saw the poster. Let's go see it.
Let's go see it. He's hot. I'm down. Hey, I'm not gonna lie. It's the same reason I saw Thor. Not exactly the top movie in the world, but the man's hot.
Oh yeah.
He could be my Norse god any day.
Yeah.
Well, here's kind of another thing. Like, this is opposite sex here, but in Black Swan, a very artistic, just a beautiful movie. I love that movie all around. Very eerie, very disturbing, great movie. You could go up to like the most kind of like macho guy, like, it's a movie about like ballet. That sounds fucking gay. Yeah, well, there's a scene where Mila Kunis and Natalie Portman eat each other out. I'm fucking down.
Yeah, there's tits. I'll watch it.
No actual nudity, but a full-on amazing makeout scene.
I remember we were trying to explain this to one of our friends, Nathan Bumgardner. And we explained that scene. He's like, yeah, Mila Kunis and like Natalie Portman are going at each other. And he's all, my mom didn't tell me about that scene. I just thought that was so funny.
Most moms are not going to divulge that information to their son because then the son goes and locks themselves in the room and goes, "Oh, I don't want to clean that sock."
Well, this is
not at 24.
Me and Ryan have this funny like thing. This makes like really no sense, but like we thought, what if you took the wrestler and Black Swan and switched the main characters? So now Mickey Rourke is literally in Black Swan, and Natalie Portman is literally the wrestler. Well, here's the scenes go the exact same way, but just with picture Natalie Portman in these scenes and the wrestler, and now picture Mickey Rourke in these scenes as Black Swan.
That makes probably two of the most disturbing movies ever made, but you wouldn't be sure just because what I heard is, I don't know the details, but apparently they were part of the same script, but due to whatever reason, they cut the script in half and made 2 movies out of it. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's true, but there's
See, this is a totally new fun fact for me. I am fascinated hearing this because I had no clue these two are even related.
There's some things you would have to change, but just don't acknowledge it. Like, instead of like Randy the Ram, she could be called Ramsey. But she's still the same age, and for some reason, she has a daughter who's maybe 4 years younger than her. We don't really says, "Hey, sweetie, how are you? Mom, leave me alone. I just want to meet up with you again. What's wrong?" She's still trying to see this hooker who's like in her 40s or something. That was
older than her.
Yeah. And
that's my favorite part.
There's the part where like Mickey Rourke does the line of coke in the bathroom and starts fucking the one chick in the ass. They have that same scene, but just Natalie Portman. You don't know if it's a strap on. You don't know what's up. But just to say like, what the fuck's going on?
I thought you didn't have that part of your anatomy. Wait a minute.
We don't know exactly what's going on. And then like for say Black Swan, I don't remember that character's name because I only saw it once. But I love that movie. And I know wrestler like the back of my hand. Like Black Swan, there's the part where like Mila Kunis and Natalie Portman are going at it. In this case, it's Mickey Rourke. And have you ever seen the movie, Nora?
No, we talked about this earlier. She didn't see it.
No, I haven't seen. I have not seen Black Swan yet.
It's a psychological thriller. It's a little bit of a horror film.
Which is a big reason why I do want to see it because I like things that make me think.
No, you would like it. It's really good.
There's a part where just weird shit happens in the movie. There's a part where Mila Kunis is eating her out, and she sticks her face between her from up her legs, and it's suddenly Natalie Portman's face on Mila Kunis. So which means you're gonna have a part where Mickey Rourke, where Mila Kunis goes down on Mickey Rourke, he pops in his face. It's Mickey Rourke.
Oh, and that's a hard face
to look at. And then also too, like, this is the other exact question. And then there's Mickey Rourke's like mom, who's probably younger than him, and he's in his room like, "Mom, get away from me!" Like holding all his stuffed animal. What happened to my sweet boy? He's gone.
Oh, good God.
That would make the fucking scenes with the ballet choreographer so much more gay and so much more uncomfortable. He said, well, let's say her name was, let's say his name's just Rourke in this. I don't really know what the girl's name.
I forgot what her name was, but
Elizabeth or something like that. Like, I don't know.
Something generic.
Or just like, let's say like John, like, Johnny, I want you to go. John, he's like he's like super French. Johnny, I want you to go home and masturbate. I don't know. I don't do that. It's kind of awkward.
It's kind of weird.
If you've seen the movie, it makes a little bit more sense, but.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, God. So, yeah, political system, 47%, Eddie Vedder, Scooby-Doo.
And tangents.
And Darren Aronofsky in confusing sex situations. All right.
So that's what I think about the educational system.
More Mickey Rourke sucking off Mickey Rourke. That will solve everything.
Oh, yes. That's what the world needs. Ugh. It's like the Expendables. I'm sorry, a friend of mine just went and saw that and told me about it, and it's like, I'm sad that they even made a second one.
I really like the second one a lot.
The second one's better.
Is it? Because he saw
better.
it and he was just like, I am so glad I didn't pay for the movie because his boss paid for it. And all I saw was the poster, and I'm pretty sure the youngest man is like 44 years old.
No. It is like the old gang.
It is like
together.
some old men. And I think the hardest thing, though, for me is the fact that Schwarzenegger's in it. Because I'm like, yeah, that's right. That man ran my state for a while. Fucking awesome. And now that he's not governor anymore, now he has to go back to acting because he's fucking broke like the rest of us in California. Good job.
Well, he's just coming off The Last Stand, and I'm very excited about The Last Stand because it looks totally badass.
Plus, it's directed by the same guy who did Good, the Bad, the Weird, and I Saw the Devil.
Mm-hmm.
Korean director.
So
really
it's
awesome.
Arnold's new where he stars in action movie, and it comes out like in the spring.
It's like a modern western, like a cartel's cutting through his tiny little Texas town. He's like, I'm a sheriff. Yeah, I got to defend this small town from Mexican cartel coming through.
I've been living in this country for over 30 years, and I still can't fake an American accent.
Yeah.
That's my biggest problem.
I am the sheriff.
Oh my God. You're supposed to be an American hero, but you still
I'm
sound
so
like a
American.
Hungarian.
Look, I'm the sheriff in this small Texan town. I wonder if he was the first choice.
Well,
he had to be the first choice. You don't say, I guess we'll go with Jason Statham if. I guess we'll go with Arnold if Jason Statham's booked, I guess.
Yeah, right.
Well, the one thing is, like, at least it's not like Arnold Schwarzenegger movies aren't like, he's always, whenever he's in a movie, they'll probably say he's, like, Austrian or something like that. Like, not like Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, where they still try to split, like, they don't want to still him up ever as a French guy.
Nope.
He's always either got to be an American, or if anything, he's Canadian, or he's from Louisiana, like, it's just like, just call him French. He's got the accent. It can't really go away.
Yeah,
I love how he's rocking the
is.
American flag tattoo in Street Fighter as Guile.
Yeah, and
Really?
He plays Guile in the Street Fighter
most
movie.
American character. The way that Japan views American people.
Now, okay, I saw a preview the other day. My friend showed me it on YouTube for, it's like the new Street Fighter, and I guess they're kind of making it a little bit more like realistic. So like Baka is no longer the big green monster thingy from another dimension. He's a black man with a lot of piercings that surgically enhanced himself with all this fancy stuff.
I've heard nothing about this.
Yeah.
Oh, it was very
This is
fascinating. Yeah, my friend showed it to me on YouTube.
Blanca is a black dude with a bunch of piercings. That
Yeah,
is
like
not somebody else, some other character, or is it Blanca?
Is that kind of racist?
Yeah, but that was kind of my first
Well,
question.
Blanca's supposed to be
Make
like
the black. Who's the black guy gonna be? Oh, he's gonna be that monster creature.
Yeah, he's
in
gonna be the
movie.
crazy monster creature.
He's technically actually a white
Well,
guy, but
Wait,
'cause,
you
like,
couldn't
the
go with
first-
Balrog? What?
I don't know, but my friend showed me this, and it was like
we find Balrog
first
racist.
you see Snake,
What?
the snaky guy from that movie, the Street
Vega?
Fighter. Maybe I don't know.
Does he have the snake tattoo around him? If he does, it's
No,
Vega.
he's like a snaky guy, like he has snaky skin.
Maybe you're thinking Maybe you're thinking Mortal Kombat.
Maybe I don't know. It's some
Because they're
fancy
making a
shit.
new Mortal Kombat movie.
Yeah,
so that
maybe
might
it
be
is Mortal Kombat because it's got the dude,
Scorpion.
No, what's the dude with the metal arms?
Oh, Jax.
That
Okay,
one.
Mortal Kombat.
Okay, so it's Mortal Kombat. Okay. So sorry, I get my Japanese fighters all mixed up.
Yeah, that one's actually an American fighter.
Oh.
Get your shit
fascinating.
straight, Nora.
I'm a girl, God!
You don't know you're fighting.
I don't got anything
I'm
better to
skipping
do but
shit.
not talk about education and talk about the difference between Street Fighter and
And
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, so my friend showed me a preview for it, and I actually am kind of intrigued to see it now because they kind of made it a little less like video gamey and kind of more like realistic people. So there is the guy, he's a black guy in the show, but he fights like that character, fights like whatever that creature is that's in that.
Maybe it's Smoke or somebody.
Well, Smoke's there. Those guys are all Asian.
Wasn't Smoke like isn't he like all like mysterious and can like black, like doesn't he have like always wear like a black suit or something so you can't tell?
Well, he's Asian though in the game.
Oh, he is? Okay, I always
Cyrax is black and he's like a robot or
okay.
robot.
I don't know.
There really actually isn't that many black characters in Mortal Kombat now that I think about it.
There's
like
one.
2 or 3.
But it was, I don't know, it was interesting to see. 'Cause it's been fascinating to me how we've been doing that too with movies. It's like you have all these movies that are totally like fantasy movies, and we're trying to make them like reality now.
Some cases it works, some cases it doesn't.
It doesn't. And this one I'm kind of intrigued to see how it works out because the previews looked really snazzy.
I don't know how you can pull Mortal Kombat off being overly realistic, given it's all based on like a whole. You go to other realms and
and that's why this guy is supposedly in the video game. He was a character from another realm, and in the video game he was like a creature, not a person. But in the new movie that they're doing, he was a doctor that was failed as a doctor and started performing surgeries like on other people, and then started doing self-inflicted surgeries. And one of the self-inflicted surgeries is he inserted like swords into his arms. Baraka, that's it. That's the dude. I was kind of close. I got a B. Right? It was a B, and he was an animal.
Yeah.
Right? All right, I'm on it.
B, Baraka, Blanca. Okay, I see that.
Yeah, so it was kind of close. So it's him.
Black guy too,
yeah, it is. But he still fights like the creature. So, but he's a human. And then there's another character that I guess they call like Snake or something.
Reptile?
There you go. And in the new version, it's like he was born with this weird disease, and he wasn't supposed to live past the age of 5, and he's full grown to like 30, and he kills people and lops off their heads and then hangs onto their heads until he gets hungry. And they kind of showed him, and I was like, I kind of prefer the fantasy character.
Yeah,
like this is almost a little too creepy. That particular guy's almost a little too creepy. But yeah, it was pretty interesting. Yeah, it was a YouTube clip.
All right,
interesting. Because yeah, I read up on that before, but they really just had like 3 actors listed, and that was it. So I didn't think they had too much going on for it yet.
Oh, this might be the Mortal Kombat web series. Nate Bumgarner told me about that one actually. I don't know if that's what Nora's talking about, but I know there is like a web series.
Oh, the web series looks like pretty much kind of dedicated to it. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, okay.
It's supposed to come out on DVD, but I don't think it came out yet.
I have no idea. I was waiting for a computer to get fixed, and the guy who was fixing the computer was like, "Here, watch this." I was like, "Oh, sweet." My buddy Nate, he was just like, "Here, watch this." So I started watching it, and it was pretty fascinating. But I was like, "Is this like a movie that's coming out soon?" He's like, "I don't know." I'm like, "Oh, helpful information. Thank you."
I'm just here to fix the fucking computer.
Yeah.
What do I know?
I just know how to fix the computers. I don't care about anything outside of that.
But yeah, well, I think this might be about time to wrap it on up because we've reached an hour.
And tangent and yeah, all that fun stuff.
All kinds of exciting.
So yeah, so we will end it there. And my name is Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And I'm Nora Chambers.
Our special guest. So that was the Old Man Orange radio show. So it's kind of what it'll be like. I guess it'll be a little bit of political topics, a little bit of news topics, and then somehow, some way, tangent off the
other fun facts.
Batman and Mickey Rourke sucking his own dick.
So there you go. Have at it. And see you later.
Have a good one.